So, in the context of this high uncertainty with regard to democracy and the rule of law that you talk about, that suggests unpredictability and, you know, especially for international investors, which is something they do not like. They don't like unpredictability. They don't like the lack of the rule of law, because obviously it threatens their investments, and ultimately that has an impact from what you're saying on the economy, doesn't it?
That's it. Charles, the first thing you could say that you have a government is security of life and property, rule of law. This is an intangible asset that you cannot ignore. It is critical. People go where there's law and order. Nobody goes where there's chaos. Where do you see the rule of law? You are here. You don't need to. I don't need anybody to tell you. You see it every day.
And of course, the manner in which the National Assembly, you touched on this briefly earlier, approved that state of emergency with a voice vote is continuing to cause ripples across Nigeria and beyond. Do you agree or disagree with those who say that trust and confidence in the National Assembly has been eroded as a result?
Completely eroded. Very unfortunate. That's why I said there's no functional legislature. It's not there. Our political setting doesn't exist in any democratic environment.
This statement that Peter Obi made, they're quite resounding. They're quite resounding because they touch on the very pertinent issues that are plaguing our country. The lack of rule of law, chaos in our country, the absence of or the erosion of our legislature, where these Akpabio-led National Assembly have been riddled with so much corruption, legislative corruption, bribery, money exchanging hands to pass, bills on behalf of the executive. This statement is the lived experience of everyone in Nigeria right now, and even people abroad. This is the statement that encapsulates what is happening in, for example, Edo State. Killings of people with impunity, where our country has now resulted into a system of anarchy. A country where individuals are dying, herders are killing people. The president takes 2 weeks on a working visit to France. 2 weeks, there's a very serious case of insecurity in the nation. The chief security officer of the country leaves the country for 2 weeks. When they say there's no rule of law in Nigeria or Nigeria is in chaos, this is an example of it. Now, Peter Obi mentioned a lot of things in this very short clip you watched. But before we dissect the things that he mentioned, because there's a lot of questions and answers that we would have to provide and what we need to do to fix them, I'd like for you to watch this to the end, okay? Because this is about you and I. This is about the lives of our loved ones and our lives, the lives of our properties. For example, if you have people who in the villages who are farming, and you have examples of people who have been dealt the blow of herders coming to their farm and destroying their crops, put that in the comment section. But if you're meeting this for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. We need you to subscribe and help continue to, make the awareness resounding, because we want more Nigerians to be quite active in the cause of the 2027 election, especially But we want that sensitization of Nigerians so that we are becoming aware that the guy from the north or the east, west, or south, depending on where you're from, is not your enemy. All of you want a good society. I want a very good society for my country, for my own children too, or my loved ones, or my children yet unborn too. I want a very good society for them. And I know you want the same thing, but the current situation in our country is not just suitable for it. And if you're one of those who've been following us and you've not yet subscribed, please do so. And also share this content. Participate in the comment section too, and let us know what you think. And we can all dissect how we can this video. We can then dissect the solutions and how we can do that. How each person here can help another person become aware, engage in this kind of conversation with others outside. Now to the meat of the matter. He argues that there's no rule of law in Nigeria. He talks about the unpredictability of the Nigerian economy right now. He talks about the security of properties and lives. This is a basic intangible stuff that investors want to see. Do you agree that there's nothing like that in Nigeria? I mean, I will use that in context. Is this the reason why businesses are folding in the country, where big businesses are packing up and they're leaving the country because they're expecting that there will be chaos? Has this chaos now reached the state of anarchy where people take laws into their own hands? Is this what we're currently dealing with right now, where law enforcement has become one where the one with the most money will bribe the police or take the police and arrest somebody who doesn't have, for just a civil situation where they can all just settle out of court or out of the police station? But the police station has not become a place of, rather than, arresting criminals and putting them before trial, law-abiding individuals who have personal issues to settle, is what the police station has become used for now, to just impound people and lock them up. Have we got into that place where we can say Nigeria is in a state of emergency? Not River State anymore, but the Nigeria is in a state of emergency where we all have to wake up and say, we can't leave our lives in the hands of the president or in this particular government anymore. So do you agree with Peter Obi's assessment here? He says we don't have a functional legislature. Do you agree? I mean, a lot of people will say they're passing bills, they're doing whatnot. Do you agree that the current Senate, the current National House of Assembly, do you agree that they're not there anymore? They're not existing. They're not functional. That they've relinquished their functionalities or what they're meant to do by the Constitution into the hands of the executive, where they're constantly being bribed. There's 10,000 bribed. There's 15,000 bribed. We're talking about $15,000. In the last vote they did, one where they just did a hand vote, where they meant to vote on whether or not Bola Tinubu has the power or whether he has the authority to issue a state of emergency in River State. It was alleged that $25,000 exchanged hands. Recently, we recorded the video of former Senator Elisha Abbo talking about them calling him into the fourth floor of the Transcorp to tell him to come and take $10,000. You can see how these monies are exchanging hands. In a country where you have to do a proper vote, where you have to follow a proper quorum, and everyone the hands need to be counted so that we can look at it historically and say, Thutord voted to say Tinubu can actually advance instead of emergency in River State. But the Senate president just did a yea and a nay. And then that made that vote illegal. The same thing happened in the House of Assembly. So is Peter Obi right to say that we don't have a functional legislature right now? We don't want to go into the case of the INEC, because everything INEC has touched since 2023 has destroyed. I mean, look at the case of Edo State. Our judiciary has become a mockery around the world. We've seen universities hand out honorary PhD to people like Wike, who has caused chaos all over the country, obviously in River State, but then they are being handed honorary PhD. Politicians are now building government houses for our judges, and you expect the outcome of judgment to be different from what they're giving. Look at the Edo State election petition as a case in point. So what do you make of all of this? Do you agree with Peter Obi's assessment? Look at the state of terrorism in our country. The entire Northeast and Northwest has completely been taken over by terrorists. And we're saying that we are the giant of Africa and we cannot fix a common terrorist situation in Nigeria years running now. Look at the way Nigeria is in the proper downfall. We're just going in a slopey slope. We're just going, just rolling down, and nothing can stop us. In the absence of a functional legislature, what you have is a dictatorial executive, and our National Assembly have become one together with the executive, such that whatever the executive wants, the executive gets. So there's no check and balances anymore. If you remember, the former Senator Elisha Abo mentioned that the Vice President Shatima called him to work for Oswell Akpabio. Not just work with him, work for him. So we have to agree that as long as Tinubu is in power, Akpabio will remain the Senate President, because he's constantly doing the biddings of Bola Tinubu. So there's no checks and balances. He's already promised him that. So are we saying that Akpabio does not work for us, the people, anymore, but he works for Bola Tinubu, in spite of the state of the nation? I've asked all of these questions so that you and I can have these conversations, because you have had this conversation within your own premises. You've had this conversation with your loved ones. You've had these conversations when you're watching football. And you looked at the country and you think that you want to run out of the country as well, like so many other people. Because like Peter Obi says, or rather like he said, nobody goes to where there's chaos. One of the main reasons why a lot of people are running out of the country right now is because there's chaos all over the country. So people are running to secure their lives, not even their properties anymore. A lot of people have been displaced. We have so many internally displaced people in our country because of this anarchy that's going on, and that's been inflicted on Nigerians by this particular APC government from the time of Bribery right to this particular point. What do you say? Do you agree with such an assessment by Peter Obi? You know, he says there's no functional legislature. Do you agree that we don't have a National Assembly that works? Let me ask you, can you transpose that to your state? Is your state's assembly working? Or is it time to start recalling them back so we can get the right people in? So I keep asking this question right now. Should we start recalling our lawmakers back? Because so far it seems as though they're not working for us anymore. They're working for their pockets and they're working for the executive on their own personal interest. What say you? Leave your comment in the comment section. Let's answer these questions. And then if you see any other person's comment that you find interesting, dive into it as well. This conversation is about me and you, it's about our country. It's about sensitizing others to make sure that they realize that ethnic violence or ethnic cleansing is not the solution. For that, they have to realize that where they are right now, the reason why they're committing some of the crimes they're committing is not because of me or you. It's because of what the government has turned Nigeria into. So that we can then band together come 2027 to do what you want to call like a protest vote to get the right people. We need a lot more people to come out to vote, because in our numbers, it's quite difficult for them to rig the election. It was numbers they had in their favor that helped them rig the election last time. We must make sure that we don't make the same mistake again. So again, if you're meeting this content for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. If you've not yet subscribed and you've been following us, please do so. Let's band together. Subscribe, share, like, and also participate in the comment section too. Let's make our country better, but we have to make this awareness louder than their election rigging. Because we will do that right now, come 2027, we've got 2 years. We would have educated a lot more people. We would have made more people aware of what we want to do in our country to make it better. As always, God bless you. Have a beautiful time. Catch you up in the next video. And make sure you watch this to the end and also watch other subsequent videos to the end. Bye-bye for now.